Long before anyone ever heard of ChatGPT, Jeopardy! Ken Jennings faced off against an artificial intelligence and lost. Now that AI is an increasingly pervasive force in people's lives, he's sounding the alarm about its effects on creativity. Fox News reported on Jennings' recent comments on AI, which he delivered at the TCM Classic Film Festival. Despite having been bested at Jeopardy! By a computer, Jennings is not an AI believer. I'm deeply skeptical of AI. Jennings favorably compared the current AI models to Watson, saying obviously, these current iterations of LLMs, large language models, would clean Watson's clock at Jeopardy! Technology has moved on. I've played with chatbots and Jeopardy! Clues, and they're very hard to stump. However, just because the machines can answer trivia questions doesn't mean Jennings is at all impressed with their creative output. I work in a creative field, and when I watch something, or I listen to something, I want to feel like it's coming from a mind. I want that sense of someone talking to me, and I never get that with AI slop. In addition to hosting Jeopardy! Jennings also co-hosts the podcast Omnibus with musician John Broderick, and is a published author. His latest book is 100 Places to See After You Die, a travel guide to the afterlife. Named after IBM founder Thomas J. Watson, Watson was a supercomputer capable of answering questions in natural language, making Jeopardy's answer and question format a perfect testing ground for it. In a special two-day event in 2011, Watson was pitted against two of the most successful Jeopardy! Contestants in history, Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter. Jennings had won 74 games in a row, which still remains a Jeopardy! Record, and Rutter was and still is the highest-earning contestant in Jeopardy! History, although he was limited to a 5-game winning streak by the show's rules at the time. In addition to having a wealth of knowledge at his disposal, Watson also had a mechanical advantage over its rivals. While Jennings and Rutter had to use their human reflexes to properly time ringing in with their buzzer, Watson had no such disadvantage and was able to ring in immediately. It answered with a synthesized human voice and was represented with a monolith-like mainframe in the center podium, giving it a HAL 9000 quality, complete with a single unblinking eye. Watson won both games decisively, although it gave a blatantly wrong answer for its first Final Jeopardy! In the category of U.S. cities. Watson answered that the city whose largest airport was named for a World War II hero, and its second largest for a World War II battle, was Toronto, which is not a U.S. city. The correct answer is Chicago. Nevertheless, the computer was ultimately victorious. The computer won the $1 million prize, which IBM subsequently donated to charity. Jennings came in second, winning $300,000, and Rutter won $200,000, with both men donating half of their winnings to charity as well. Jennings penned an essay for Slate following his loss, preceding today's AI frenzy. He wrote, "Just as factory jobs were eliminated in the 20th century by new assembly line robots, Brad and I were the first knowledge industry workers put out of work by the new generation of thinking machines." Quiz show contestant may be the first job made redundant by Watson, but I'm sure it won't be the last. Its run on Jeopardy! Would be the end of Watson's game show career, although it later played an exhibition round against two members of Congress and lost. IBM had difficulty finding a profitable application for the computer, and the division of the company that produced it was ultimately sold off at a loss. Jennings would become increasingly associated with the show, winning the Jeopardy! Greatest of all-time tournament against Rutter and newer challenger James Holzhauer before eventually becoming the show's permanent new host after the death of Trebek. Rutter has continued to appear in tournaments and is currently competing in this year's Jeopardy! Masters Series. In 2011, Jeopardy! Made history when a supercomputer named Watson, developed by IBM, defeated the greatest human champion of the game, Ken Jennings, during a highly publicized special tournament. Watson's victory was seen as a monumental achievement in artificial intelligence AI, showcasing the incredible advancements in machine learning and cognitive computing. However, while Watson's triumph was celebrated as a technological breakthrough, its legacy on Jeopardy! Is more complicated than initially thought. Beyond the headlines and the accolades, Watson's victory raised questions about the role of technology in intellectual competition, the future of human-centric quiz shows, and the ethics of AI. Watson's victory, a pivotal moment in AI history, when Watson faced off against Jennings, who had won 74 consecutive games on Jeopardy, and Brad Rutter, the highest-earning contestant in the show's history. The stakes were high. Watson, a machine built to process vast amounts of data and understand natural language, was programmed to read clues, analyze patterns, and provide answers, all in real time. In contrast, human contestants rely on their recall abilities, instincts, and quick thinking. Despite Watson's unyielding speed and precision, the game was not without its drama. Jennings and Rutter, while stunned by the machine's capabilities, still managed to give it a run for its money. However, when the final round came, Watson's performance was flawless, securing its victory and cementing its place in history. The showdown not only showcased the prowess of Watson but also sparked a broader conversation about the potential of AI and its implications for human intellect. The impact on Jeopardy! And beyond, Watson's victory on Jeopardy! Was hailed as a watershed moment in AI development. For many, it symbolized the triumph of machines over human intelligence. The event captivated audiences worldwide, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible with technology. For Jeopardy! Itself, the tournament was a ratings success, bringing in millions of viewers and catapulting the show into the spotlight once again. However, in the aftermath of Watson's win, some fans and critics began to question the place of human competition in a world where AI could outperform the best of the best. Could a game show like Jeopardy! Continue to captivate audiences if machines could eventually take over the intellectual challenge? While Watson's success did not signal the end of human participation in Jeopardy! It did raise important questions about the intersection of technology and entertainment. The complicated legacy of Watson's victory. While Watson's triumph remains a landmark achievement in AI, its legacy is more complicated than the initial excitement suggested. First, Watson's victory over Ken Jennings didn't mean the end of human champions. In fact, it sparked an even greater appreciation for human memory, creativity, and critical thinking, traits that AI, no matter how advanced, still struggles to replicate fully. Jennings himself has spoken about the unique abilities humans bring to the game, the ability to make connections, the nuanced understanding of humor and context, and the unpredictable nature of human reasoning. These qualities, he argued, would always set humans apart from machines. Furthermore, Watson's success highlighted the ethical considerations of AI in competitive environments. With machines now capable of outsmarting humans, it raised concerns about the fairness of such competitions and the future role of AI in our daily lives. While Watson's win was a demonstration of technological progress, it also symbolized the growing dominance of AI in fields once dominated by humans. For many, this led to discussions about the potential consequences of relying too heavily on AI and the need for regulations to ensure that machines serve humans rather than replace them. The future of Jeopardy! And AI. In the years following Watson's victory, Jeopardy! Continued to thrive, with human champions still at the forefront of the game. The show embraced its role as a showcase for both human knowledge and the evolving capabilities of AI. In fact, Watson's legacy was revisited in 2020 during the Jeopardy! Greatest of All Time tournament, where Jennings, Rutter, and another legendary contestant, James Holzhauer, faced off. Watson, once again, was featured in the tournament as a symbolic representation of the changing landscape of intellectual competition. The event was a celebration of both human achievement and technological advancement, with Jennings emerging as the ultimate champion. It underscored the idea that while AI could assist and challenge us, human intelligence remains.